As the Engineer is an experimental volumetric video game. It has technically two parts. We commissioned a small-scale LARP, and for the game, we filmed a few sessions of that LARP and incorporated them into a VR environment. In the game, you play a afterlife agent, and there are flaws in a memory timeline that have been caused by a sudden apocalypse. So as you go through, you engage with the memory in various ways in order to solidify things that have dematerialized, or alternately to fix timelines that have become fragmented into multiple timelines. So it does this through two primary mechanics, which I will kind of show briefly within two specific levels that will highlight them. And as we kind of go through, I'll tell you a little bit more about why we think that this game is particularly innovative. So there are two types of levels, and the game iterates it flips back and forth between two of them. In group scenes like this one, characters sit around a fire and they kind of discuss events that have unfolded or that have occurred. So in this one, what is particularly cool about it is that the characters the performers within the LARP that we filmed did this emergently. So whatever they kind of said, as non-actors on one take is what ends up in there. It gives their performances a really interesting character that you don't often see within games. And we left in a lot of the kind of contextual elements of the LARP itself, like kind of out of character communication, things that are kind of just discussing about the performance or about the experience itself, and all of these things kind of show what you could potentially what you might want to do, or what you might be able to do with volumetric video, with recorded media that you can do with other things that you would incorporate into games. So as they go through, we used mechanics specifically from FMV video games, which deal with linear media. We tried to draw on mechanics from things like music performance video games, which also deal with linear media. So in this case, as the characters go through and in this case do quite a bit of world building and talk about their relationships and things that they brought and what build out the story world. As they mention particular objects, those objects will kind of appear within the space in a kind of glitchy, kind of dematerialized context, and by gazing at them, by looking at them, you solidify them within the world. And then once you solidify them within that world, they're persistent. They will always be there within that space. So for future levels, you can kind of see them. So the idea is to play upon that sense in which objects can become these kind of core parts, these anchors for memory. Now these breakout levels had characters kind of go off and have side conversations in pairs. So the main mechanic within the breakout conversations are that there are different versions of these performances, different versions of these conversations. So in the LARP that we filmed, we got the participants in the LARP to run through it, to run through the same LARP, but to run through it 3 times. And then each of those 3 different conversations become different conversations on the timelines that we're showing here. So in each of the conversations, a glitch emerges, and you can use the tuning device to find a hotspot that is associated with each particular version of that conversation and lock in the one that you would prefer. So as you move the device through space, it tunes in different versions of that particular time. So those are the two primary mechanics, and like I said, one of the main challenges was finding ways to engage with this kind of emerging technology, volumetric video, in a way that does something that you couldn't do with another form of media, but then also kind of takes some of the lessons that we've learned from working with other types of linear media. Thank you very much. Take care.